Hello YouTube, my name is Patrice and I'm here with another You Are Using It Wrong episode. Finally the season 1 came out for Apex and with it came out a new legend called Octane, another attacking legend. He has very fast kit and his playstyle is suited for very aggressive players. I personally had a lot of fun playing him and I was happy to see that he is pretty balanced. His hitbox is average and seems like it's a bit bigger than Wraith's. Let's start off with skills. Passive, Swift Mend. Octane restores health over time if he isn't taking damage. So no, it won't work in the storm as some people might think. It will only start to work after around 2 seconds with taking no damage. There's almost nothing to say about this ability since it's very straightforward. But one fact that you need to know is that it takes 200 seconds to restore 100 health. So 1 health equals to 2 seconds. So if you have 50 health and you are thinking of not using heals and wait out before you go into the battle, it will take you 100 seconds to get to the full health bar. And your team will probably be dead already. Yes, it is silent and makes no noise compared to normal heals, but it consumes so much time that it's not worth waiting for. Moving on to his tactical ability, Steam. The name goes after Titanfall pilot named Steam. Don't really know why you need to know this, but anyway. You get 30% speed boost for 6 seconds and he also reduces any slows that affect you by around 50% from my experience. It costs 10 health to activate this ability. No, not 10%, it's 10 health. And he also has 2 seconds cooldown after it ends, so you can pretty much run around with it all the time. The Octane can run with or without a weapon on the same speed, but after testing it, I still did notice that running with a weapon is still a little bit slower than without, but it still does feel a lot quicker when you run with the gun on, and the difference between running with or without is pretty small that I would even recommend always having a gun out when you are in the battle. I tried this with any other slow abilities and noticed that it does help a lot, so if you play against Caustic Gas or Gibraltar's and Bangalore's ult, then keep in mind by activating your tactical you will reduce the slows that those abilities cause. What's even more important is that now you can actually play in team with somebody like Caustic and not get a slow, so you will still have advantage over the enemies inside the same gas as you are. Additionally, I noticed that when you're activating the ability when you are blinded, it works as a cleanse. So for example, look in this video, my teammate drops Bank's ultimate and you can see the blur I'm getting on my screen. I use my Steam ability inside and it makes it easier to see, at least for me it did. Now let's cover the situation it could be used in. Personally, I see it as a perfect skill to start off the fight. Yes, you do lose 10 health, but you gain 30% movement speed and turn into a much harder target to hit. It's easy to rush in and start the fight with this speed. Don't forget to use it mid-battle as well, to gain extra speed and confuse the enemy. But keep in mind that you will also lose health. You can also use this ability to flank enemies, but just keep in mind that it does have a sound and it does have a visual animation that is something similar to Wraith's Void Jump, but hers is purple trail while Octane has a green trail left behind him. So yeah, it's pretty bait. You can also use it to help out your team, since you pretty much always have 30% speed boost. Usually you will end up being further away scouting, so as soon as somebody attacks your team, you should definitely trigger Steam together with your ultimate to get there ASAP and help them out. People might argue on using this ability as an escape, since if you are low in health, it will only minus out even more, right? Well, from my experience, extra 10 health will almost never save you since you have your back open when you are disengaging, so it's easy to shoot you anyway and add that extra bullet. So personally, I always use this team to run away. It does consume 10 health, but it gives me extra 30% movement speed, which makes me a harder target to hit and much easier to get into cover, after what I usually heal up and recharge my shield. Keep in mind that using this ability will never kill you. Even if you have 10 health left, it will only minus out 9, but be careful with using it in the storm. I usually always carry around a lot of syringes and medkits if I play Octane. So for example, if I play Lifeline, I usually carry only 6 syringes and around 12 shield cells. But with Octane, I try to always have at least 12 syringes and instead have less shield cells. Usually by running around and just scouting under Octane's tactical, you will end up being low on health and occasionally want to heal up. This is the way I count it. And last but not least, you can use Steam no matter what you do. Just like Mirage, Decoy or Bank Smoke, you can use Steam whilst running, aiming, healing and etc. Now moving on to his ultimate, Launchpad. Deploys a jump pad that can catapult anyone through the air. Few things you need to know, it will always throw you into the direction you are moving towards. So if you look forward but are walking backwards, then it will launch you backward and not where you are looking. It counts in your movement course and not your facing direction. You can gain some momentum and slide into the jump pad and also press jump right when you touch the jump pad to gain extra speed and a bit more distance. Also, if you jump straight on top of it without pressing any direction keys, then you won't go as much further away, but you will get a lot higher. It's perfect if you want to get on a high ground up close. I don't want to just be thrown into the wall. Another thing players don't know is that it don't matter from how high you will jump on it. Even if you jump on a trampoline from already a high place, it will still have almost the same effect and height. Any deployable skills can bounce off, so for example Gibraltar shield or caustic traps. You can send them now further away with helping out your team, protecting them, or even attacking the enemy team with caustic traps by landing the traps on top of their heads. Even lifeline healing drone can be thrown, but it gets always stuck mid-air for some reason. I think that's a bug and it will be probably fixed in the future. You can also bounce off grenades and ultimates like caustic or Bangalore's, but it doesn't really get it much further. Unfortunately, Mirage's decoy doesn't really bounce off it, it just breaks as soon as it touches the pad. I don't know if it meant to be like that or it's just a bug, but that would have such a good potential for cool plays. I even tried to bounce off Lifeline Ultimate, but it just ended up breaking the jump pad. Yes, the jump pad can also be broken, so compared to the Wraiths or Pathfinder ult, you can break jump pad with grenades or shots. It takes 100 seconds for your ult to charge, so it's super fast and you will almost have one for a fight unless you waste it just to move around the map. I would not recommend doing that since your steam boost is good enough to move fast. I would rather recommend saving your ult for the fight. Personally, I love Octane's ultimate, and it's super fun to use with a combo of caustic traps, since you can launch them right on enemies' heads. Well, there is a specific play for this that I discovered. If you're running away from an enemy, you can actually throw the trampoline really close to you so the animation just goes on as soon as you run past it, and then by looking forward you can just walk back. That will launch you backwards, so the enemy that is chasing in front forwards will be really confused and it will be open back. Since your camera is still facing forwards, you will be behind an enemy ready to shoot right in his back. I personally always use it to engage the fights and take a better position. Make sure though not to just drop on your enemies with it, especially if they're expecting you, since mid-air you are a pretty easy target and it's easy to track you. Yes, you will end up using it like that sometimes, but don't aim to be using it like that all the time. As I said, after using my ult to start off the fight, I will try to get higher grounds and poke my enemy from there where it's safe. After landing some poke damage, I usually end up dropping down and using my steam to get closer to an enemy and rush them. If there's few entrances into enemy building, I would always try to go for a flank and attack from a side or back. On top of that, you can use it defensively as well. If you are getting rushed, squished by a third party or just in a bad position, you can always use it to disengage or to reposition. Just keep in mind that if enemy had a perfect visual on you, then they know where you went and probably will follow up. Maybe try to trap them or throw grenades where you land, especially if they come one by one. Additionally, you can use the jump pad to provide support. If your team is in a bad position, you can chuck it near them to let them escape or get out of there. Or you can use it yourself if you are down. Alright, with the skill out of the way, let's move on to counters and team composition. Let's go one by one. Bloodhound. You work great with Bloodhound since both of you have nice speed boost in the battle. You don't really counter Bloodhound in any way, but he can be a little annoying under his ultimate, since he does gain a speed boost to catch up with you, and if you are engaging under your ult, you will be basically a bright red lamp mid-air. Gibraltar and Caustic work amazingly well with Octane. Most important is that your ultimate can bounce off the dome shield and the traps to reach further distance, but you also get to reduce low effect and have better vision if you are under Gib's ultimate or caustic gas. So you can have a very good protection while still being able to effectively rush the enemy. On the other end, Caustic is kinda half-half. You counter his gas a little bit and can get out of it easily with less movement reduction or with your ultimate, but he also does damage through your shield. So if for example you use Steam twice and lost 20 health, now moving on to Lifeline. I see Octane as a perfect counter for Lifeline. You have enough speed boost to rush her before she gets to recharge too much health back, and you can easily outrun or overjump her reviving shield and kill her. And moving on to last legend, Mirage. He can ult whilst flying on your ultimate, which will give him a perfect aggressive attack while also having a lot of confusion on the enemy. Alright, now let's get to pros and cons. As always, I'll start with pros. Very fast and aggressive kit. Makes him a perfect pick for players that want to have higher kill games and don't want to stand in one place. Octane outruns pretty much anyone in the game. Octane gets reduction on any slows, so in current wingman meta it's pretty useful. Amazing ultimate that is very fast and you can reposition with it almost immediately. Almost no animation on tactical, it pretty much activates immediately. Small cooldown on ult and tactical. Can deploy stuff in the air, so caustic trap can actually fly pretty far. He gets silent heal. I mean silent like health, not the movie. And now moving on to cons. Almost always has less health than 100. On average, you will be having around 70 health all the time before the battle. The passive is very weak and you can't really wait for it. Can't really use his tactical in long storm runs since it might end up killing him. Loud tactical and has a bait animation. Also the ultimate is quite loud as well. His hitbox is average and still pretty much bigger than Wraith's. It is balanced and fair, but Wraith is still a higher tier pick. Ultimate can be destroyed or used against you. Ultimate has a short range and sometimes won't be able to reach certain heights, unlike Pathfinder. Can be killed mid-air since the ultimate flight is very predictable. And since I'm talking about this, I would also like to recommend everyone to use a short range weapon with Octane. As much as I believe that it always matters on preference and meta, I would still recommend having a shotgun or something like R99 for up close battles, since with Octane kit you will almost always end up close and personal. Alright, let's finish this episode here. Hope you liked this video guys. I was playing Octane non-stop 4 days straight after it came out. I was there learning and exploring, but I'm 100% sure I will still miss out on something. I'm still pretty sure there will be things I missed. Please make sure to comment them down below to help me out and the future viewers. If you like this video, make sure to give it a like and don't forget to subscribe. Come on, I really need more subs. Come on, just press that subscribe. Help me out. Help me help you. Wait, what? I'll be posting a lot more of Apex and other games in the future, and I will also live stream very soon, so you will be able to ask me any questions you want and in general just like hang out and stuff. Sounds fun, doesn't it? Anyways, I thank you for watching this long guide and I see you guys in the game. Bye.